The September issue of Exceptional Parent magazine focuses on the elderly and those who care for them. Sign up for free and read it today at www.epmagazine.com.
Oscar Mike Radio is a proud podcast partner of Reach Across America Radio, heard every Thursday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. They're also big supporters of the nonprofit I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once. And with every wreath you sponsor through Oscar Mike Radio, $5 goes back to this great organization dedicated to making a difference in the lives of veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders battling PTSD. Two Lives at Once pairs these brave men and women together with dogs rescued from kill shelters. In this way, two lives are saved at the same time by saving each other. Donate now. Go to reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio to help. That's reachacrossamerica.org/Oscar Mike Radio.
Suicide is preventable, and each of us has a role to play in suicide prevention.
Suicide is complex. There is no single cause.
And it's not always a mental health issue. It could be loss of a job or home, financial or relationship issues, pain, or leaving the military.
Suicide does not discriminate. It affects all ages, races, and genders, veterans or not.
If you know a veteran who is struggling, connect with them. Let them know help is available.
There is quick and easy access to services in times of crisis.
Dial 988, then press 1. Talking about it is okay.
Don't keep it inside. Don't be ashamed. Don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. My name is Travis. I'm your host. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubazoo Network. You can find out more on hubazoo.com. I want to thank my sponsors, Joyce Asack of Asack Real Estate, Army National Guard veteran Mark Holmes of Reapers Detailing and Power Washing, and my supporters, Cason Shaving Company, thank you, Travis Arnold, and Exceptional Parent Magazine, Faye Simon, Executive Director and Editor-in-Chief. Thank you so much. It's just me. We're solo today, which is cool. I haven't done one solo in a while, and that's how I got my start. And I'm like looking at the calendar and shows coming up, like, you know what? I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to do a solo, like just me. And this is cool because I don't get to do a whole lot anymore. That's a good thing. And sometimes change is good. I want to start off with something that is near and dear to me. October 5th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., I Got Your Six, Two Lives at Once is having our annual fundraiser event at the Whitman, Massachusetts Knights of Columbus. You can come there and, dance. We've got, music, food. We have Brianna Housen singing the national anthem. We have Diego Medina, Army National Guard veteran and founder of Deaf Purpose Freedom nonprofit, speaking for us, and Amber Smith's mother, Erin Smith, talking about the reason and scope for our mission. I'll be there. And one other thing we're doing this year, we appreciate all the raffles we've gotten donated to us, but we're going to have a special table section for veteran-owned businesses who have supported I Got Your 6 2 Lives at Once. So I will have the show banner in Oscar Mike Radio show post, but also the event links, the QR code. You just click the QR code, get your tickets. We need people to buy tickets so we can kind of scope the food, but come there, enjoy yourselves, learn about the mission, meet Amber, meet Jamie, meet all of us. It's going to be a great time. Okay? We're mission flight. So I'm thinking about what to talk about, and I'm like, man, I got to find something because I want it to be good. I don't do this a whole lot, and I want to have a good time doing it. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see one of my cyber buddies say, hey, did you hear about the Navy messing up? And I'm wearing a Navy submarine hat in kind of honor of this show. Not that the submariners are messed up. I love submariners. I know a lot of them, and this is great. But the Navy has no problem, pointing their fingers at us Marines when we mess up. So I figured the Navy should be able to take it if they can dish it out. And this is a good one because for once, it's not like the little E3s, E4s, E5s, and below messing up. This is a command senior chief and her buddies messing up. So, why am I calling this show Stinky Starlink? Well, let's start with first, what is Starlink? If you have been watching the Ukraine war and other things in SpaceX, you know that Starlink is Elon Musk's answer to broadband anywhere. And you can literally go and pay $500 for a kit, come out, find Open Sky, plug it in, download the app, and you can get between 100 to 200 megabits down with 20 milliseconds of latency, which isn't that bad, in almost anywhere on the planet. So you can get Wi-Fi and internet where Comcast and Verizon can't get it to you. And some people complain that it's expensive, but hey, if you don't have it and you need it, and you're trying to play Space Marine 2 with your buddies or Madden, or you're just trying to keep your TikTok, habit fed, it could be a matter of life and death. I'm kidding there, but you know what I mean. So this has been out here for a while. It originated back in like 2000, no, I'm sorry, not 2000. 2020, 2021, it got going, and then the Ukraine war got it, and Elon sent over a bunch of Starlink units so the Ukraine military could get comms going, and they've used it with great effect. So one of the funny things that Elon did in June of 2022, he changes the default name on the access point or router, whatever you want to call it. It's in my world, it's either an access point or the Wi-Fi modem, and they all have default names. And the default names for this one and going forward is Stinky. Not really sure why it's called Stinky. It sticks. It really, you can't forget that if it's the default name. And maybe it was a marketing promotional thing to let people know, hey, if I see another Stinky on the network, I can link into it and kind of increase coverage or redundancy. Maybe that's why he did it. Maybe it's just a joke. Who knows what goes on in the mind of Elon Musk? Who dares? Who dares to guess? I don't. But the default name of that thing, if I were to buy it today and bring it home, I'd open it up and put it on my network, would be Stinky. So what does this have to do with the Navy? Why am I talking about it? And is this for real? Well, an article started dropping about a couple weeks ago where a command senior chief on the littoral combat ship USS Manchester got caught with an unmonitored, unapproved Starlink Wi-Fi network on this ship. Now, for those of you who don't know, a littoral, Littoral, is like a close shore support ship that you can land helicopters on. It can provide shore coverage. It can launch some missiles. It's smaller than like an Arleigh Burke. It's not anywhere near the size of a battleship. It's certainly, compared to an aircraft carrier, very, very small. But the idea is these smaller ships can get close into the shore, can provide, you know, uh, air support to, take out, air targets or, surface to air defense batteries. They can, cover extractions to and from shore for, like SEAL teams, coming back to the ship, or launch, small raiding parties into a shore base attack. And again, because they have a landing pad on the aft end of them, that's the rear end of the ship, you can send helicopters out to pick up people, bring people back, or do rescues. They're like a Swiss Army knife, but not a big one. But still, it's fast, it's nimble, it's powerful, and they have a pretty important mission. And on this ship, we have Command Senior Chief Griselle Marrero joined the Navy in the early 2000s and worked her way up to being a command senior chief, which is kind of like a command sergeant major, an E9, the senior enlisted person in almost any room, and even one that officers, warrant officers, have to pay attention to and give deference to. Yes, I know, an O1, O2 outranks an E9 on paper, but only a fool tries to make that happen in real life. You need that command E9 presence to make certain things work for you. And if you don't, you're going to learn the hard way. So back in 2023, August or September, not really sure when, because the Navy hasn't divulged all the information. Surprise, surprise. What happened was, and this is where it really kind of interests me because of what I do. They were doing this sweep, which they should be doing, to look for, rogue Wi-Fi access points. That's really a thing. And if you have a big business, you might want to look for a rogue access point, because if you have a rogue Wi-Fi network on your, in your company premises, even in your home, small home office, or in this case, a multi-million dollar, naval ship, that's supposed to be a, force multiplier in the theater of combat, well, that's bad. Someone can set up a rogue Wi-Fi network and connect to other, communication devices from the enemy or even back to shore and send all kinds of data. Or at the very least, when you turn this thing on, you're announcing to anybody, looking for that kind of stuff, hey, there's another IP address that came up. What's this? And triangulate exactly where that device is, what it's doing, and where is it? That's the most important thing. Where is it? And you can track this down. Trust me. They got away with this for a while because they designed the Starlink dish. Design is not the right word. They disguised it as a printer. And they said that this is just a printer in the ship's, Wi-Fi network systems, and it's just sitting there printing stuff. And in corporate, small home office, or the military, a lot of the printers on the enterprise level or even home offices have network cards in them, and that's so they're easily shared across the network, and people can do what they have to do, and they can connect to the network, connect to the printer, print their stuff, and go on their way. So you don't have to have the printer physically connected to your machine. You just point to a network address, network printer location, send your print job to it, it prints out. And that's actually, if you're going to hide a rogue Wi-Fi network, that's one of my favorite things to do. And it's one of the first things you should look for when you're trying to discover just how secure your network is. So they hid it as a printer. And it took them a while to kind of figure out what was going on, because they thought they had this outed. And the command senior chief said, no, 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 it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's because they would take it up and take it down to where you really couldn't get an idea of when this thing was on. And if you're not actively looking for it, or if you write your search rules differently, which was maybe happening here, I'm not sure for sure, it's difficult, if not impossible, to catch. And you might be asking yourself, why all the effort to have this Wi-Fi network on a ship and who was using it? Well, again, if you're on a ship 2,000 miles out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's kind of hard to get your Netflix working. It's kind of hard to watch your TikTok videos. It's kind of hard to just be part of the human race in some respects. And you might be motivated saying, you know what, I can get a Starlink system for about $500, and I can get the $1,000 a month plan, and I could have myself all my stuff. And this is what the command senior chief did. And they didn't get, seamen and seamen recruits and, the E3s, E2s, E4s, E5s to get it on the gig. It was all like E7s, E8s, and E9s. So chief petty officers and above were in on this. And it's really kind of like, wait a minute, usually it's the lower enlisted who get caught doing something like this, not the senior enlisted. But finally, the command is like, we got to root this thing out. And they finally started getting, proactive and blue teaming this thing. And they figured out, and there's tons of ways you can do this, in-map scans, port scans, Wireshark, the whole 9 yards. You can figure out in your network if it's real or not. And if it's not real, you look for what is outside your network. And that's how they caught this finally. So it was just hard to believe. And you might be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal? She was using her own money to purchase the hardware. She had gotten with her, other, you know, chief petty officer and chief buddies to pitch in for the monthly fee for the Starlink. They weren't like doing bad stuff with it. They were watching their Netflix, TikTok, and, other feeds. What's the big deal? It's no big deal. What absolutely is a big deal? It's a huge deal. Again, kind of like when, you're in the jungle or you're in an aircraft and you pop up on a radar and someone can get a return off you and they triangulate it. That's bad. Or when someone's in the woods, in the jungle, and they send out a radio message and the other side picks it up and begins to triangulate where that person is, where the signal's coming from. That's bad. It's the same thing here. And if you're on a top secret mission or you don't need the other side knowing exactly where you are and what you're doing, that's bad. And think about it, if maybe one time, but if you're turning this thing on every day or a couple of times a week, you can literally start building a picture of where this ship is, how long it stayed at port, where it went after port, and figure out what's it doing, where is it going, how long did it stay at port, and did it talk to other ships? And it can fill a lot of blanks if you're trying to be careful. But the base thing that's wrong with this is it's strictly against DoD and Navy policy. There's a strict guidelines about having your own private Wi-Fi network on a Navy ship, regardless if it's an aircraft carrier or a PT boat. That's one of those small fast attack boats back from Vietnam. It's not allowed. And if someone hadn't raised the alarm and kept going to command, who knows how long this would have happened for. And yeah, I know it's been a year later, and yeah, I'm sure the Navy probably didn't want this getting out. And again, the USS Florida, the hat I'm wearing, was not, nor should be, thought of in any way involved with the situation. I'm just wearing the hat so the Navy knows that, hey, you make fun of Marines, I'm gonna make fun of the Navy. And it's not a funny thing. It's not a funny thing. I know it's not a funny thing, but still, as a terminal lance who got out and, was led to believe that chiefs and sergeant majors, first sergeants never, ever messed up. It is kind of humorous in a dark humor kind of way to see our senior enlisted breaking the rules and getting caught. And so she broke the rules. She violated Navy protocols. Uh, she was demoted from command senior chief to chief petty officer. So she went from an E9 to an E7 and, pleaded guilty to dereliction of duty and providing false official statements to commanders. So they had her, they caught her, they've asked her multiple times if you read the story, and she lied about it and then did it again. And that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to ask some of my Navy friends, is getting busted from E7, E9, excuse me, to E7 that bad? I would have to think so. I'd have to think that you have, foregone your retirement. You certainly, ruined your reputation. She is probably in reality, on her way out of the Navy. She will never get promoted again. She would have to do something like Medal of Honor worthy to restore her reputation. And the irony is, this was all because maybe this person or persons just wanted to watch their Netflix shows or do their Instagram reels, with their own network. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? And so in this case, the Starlink Stinky was not only appropriate, it was very, very apt because protocols were being violated. And, there's going to be long-term effects. Yes. She was relieved of duty. She's probably, on her way out. There's a court martial to her name. The Navy does not need that kind of, I mean, how would you trust somebody once they did that and lied to you? There were lives at stake. And again, you might be thinking, well, it's just a Wi-Fi network. Well, what if it's your son or daughter, husband or wife on that ship, and somebody figures out where they are and takes that ship out and all hands are lost? It's kind of worth it then. So again, I'm just brushing off the old solo work. I haven't done this in a while. I'm a little rusty, but I had a lot of fun doing this. It's really interesting to see how this works and how this aspect of cyber is becoming more and more part of our military and daily life. And it doesn't matter if you have kids in your home who are running a rogue Wi-Fi network, your small business running a Wi-Fi network, or even somebody at the enterprise business level. Rogue APs, access points, rogue Wi-Fi networks are always bad. And if you get wind of one, all I can tell you is you should escalate to your, the person in charge, your manager, that this is going on, because if there's one AP there, there's probably two, and nothing good is coming of it. Nothing good is coming of it. It's wrong, it's not good, and it can get you terminated or worse. So again, I thought this was very interesting based on what is going on in the cyber field and the fact that we have, other entities trying to do cyber attacks against us, and cyber warfare is becoming more and more of a thing. And back in World War II, there was expression loose lips sink ships. So if you were talking with, your family about where you were going, someone might relay that information back to the Germans or the Japanese, and there might be a submarine waiting to take you out. So the idea was to be careful with the information that you're divulging or talking about. You could say the same thing here. It's a different thing, but it's the whole aspect that information about that Navy ship, the USS Manchester, was being divulged. Someone could triangulate it and cause a great harm. So again, a different kind of show, different kind of episode. Again, hey, USS Florida, no disrespect or hate or anything toward you. I just wanted to make sure that the Navy knew that, hey, I make fun of all services equally. And while this is not a laughing matter, the Lance Corporal in me, the E3, is like, wow, the E7s and above finally got caught. And when should it happen sooner? So again, my name is Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Join me next week. We're going to have a great show. Thank you very much for checking me out. And as we always say, we're mission in flight.
Remember, Honor teaches our mission. We care about it and we do it every day. But I think there are things that just hit you and give you a reason to go on. The theme for our 2024 from Reach Across America is Live with Purpose. It just seemed to fit in with the vows of the REAP, the 10 attributes that we feel represent our United States military. I thought, what a great opportunity to put those two things together and show our kids through how we act some of the things that can make their lives better, their communities better, and by doing that, the country better. For me, Live with Purpose, I think, it's a mindset. Set some guidelines and then go out and purposefully make life different, make a change. It's an opportunity to set an example.
Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action and the mission is in flight. Oscar Mike Radio is an oversized load Co-Sinister One production. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 988 and press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.